I was born in Greenwich, Connecticut, okay, and we lived around the corner from my grandparents. And my mother and father had gotten married without her parents knowing about it. So the thing that Grandpa did, my grandpa, her father, found out where he was living. And he went to visit them with a shotgun. And they produced the marriage certificate. Well, my father ended up being their favorite of all because he was a marvelous person, okay? My mother had her own beauty parlor, and my father had his own restaurant. So we were directly across the street on Greenwich Avenue. It was very interesting because I would go help my mother if she needed help when she had a lot of customers, and I would answer the phone so the girl that was answering the phone could do hair washes and settings and things like that. My high school was private school, and I went to Rosemary Hall the first year, which were all girls and all very wealthy and completely out of my class. So then I transferred to Edgewood, and that was perfect for me. Well, in the meantime, I met my future husband, and I went to college for 1 whole year, and then we got married on the QT, the same way my mother did. And the second year, I found out near the end of the fall semester that I was pregnant. So my father had to come pick me up, and he says, "You're married?" I said, "Yes." "Okay." He says, "To Bill?" I said, "Oh," he says, "I like him." But my mother couldn't stand him. That's the reason we got married on the sly, because she did not like him. When I was in college at Edgewood, Doreen Allen, who was a good friend of mine, used to go down to Rye all the time. And I met him in the bar and grill. And we'd sit around the table and play games. And if you lose, you had to take a drink. So it was fun. It was fun. My husband had built a house, which he was able to sell. And he had enough money that we bought property in Bellhaven. It was a whole acre for $7,500. Do you know how much an acre would go for today, if there was one? Anyway, so we built a home. And by then when it was finished, I had 3 boys. We were living at my mother's house. She had a big house. When the oldest one started school, I think I was pregnant with Margaret. She was a beautiful baby. Oh, everybody used to stop me and say, "Oh, what a beautiful baby." So we were able to move into the house. And then I think that's when Grandpa Harvey died, my father-in-law. And we were left some money, so that's when we put the swimming pool in. Well, I never had a minute to myself. I didn't have much in the way of social life because I was always cooking. They always expected dessert when they got home. And, you get up for breakfast. Some I made lunch for, and others paid for their lunch. And the first thing they do when they walked in the house is, "What'd you make today?" So I had to have a variety of things, You couldn't always have cookies. You had to make some pies, some brownies. Always. So that was my life. I really didn't have a social life at all. Once in a while, my husband and I would go to the movies, but you can't with a swimming pool. Because we used to have friends, the boys would bring friends over, and we had to be there in case there was an accident. We never had an accident. My husband, he had his own plumbing and heating business, and he also could build homes, But the plumbing business was so busy that he never had a chance to build another home. He went to college, one in Ohio. I forget which one it was right now. But he didn't finish. That's when he met me and we got into trouble. But his father had the plumbing and heating business, and his father had the plumbing and heating business. So he's actually was third generation plumbing and heating in Rye. Rye was very close to Greenwich. I mean, it didn't take him long, 15 minutes to get there. So anyway, and his boys used to work with him during the summer, which was very nice because they learned a lot and they were paid decent wages. They were very close in age. Bill and Bob were, 13 months apart, and then John was 18 months apart. But at one stage, they're like 5, 4, and 3. So it was very busy. And fortunately, we had the swimming pool and we had an acre of land. So they were always busy. And I mean, I was constantly outside watching them, inside cooking. It was crazy. But they really were good kids. Sandy and Margaret were very different. Margaret was a singer. You know, she loved her music and everything. And Sandy just like boys. But we also had a vegetable garden, which I had helped to attend to. And once in a while, your mother would come and help pull some weeds, but not too often. But they would go and steal the little tomatoes. And I'd go to get them for salad. What happened to those tomatoes? And you'd see they'd sit there and very innocently, I knew they were eating them. I didn't care. I didn't expect to have any more children. And then I found out I was pregnant with Tom. And he was different than the other boys. He was a control freak. For example, he had a little cubby, and in that cubby there were nuts or there was some candy. He would never take any more than 2. Very controlled person, and you know what? He still is. My husband died in 1988 because he had cancer. So I sold the house then, and with that money, I bought 2 condos. I lived in one, and I rented the other one. And in the meantime, Tom got into boxing at the gym in Greenwich at the YMCA. And he did very well. And so finally he said to me one day, why don't we go to Las Vegas? I said, why? Well, he says, because I can really do some boxing there. He did go to 2 years of college. He did do that much when we were in Greenwich, okay? And so I agreed, and we drove out, and he did do boxing there. The problem was they were using him as a sparring partner with the professionals. Of course, he wasn't getting paid. And so he finally came home one day and said, you know, I've had it with boxing because they're not fixing me up with anybody to box with. All I do is help out the ones that are professionals. And he said, the heck with that. So he went back to school. He got his business degree at UNLV. Love the grandchildren. I mean, they're unbelievably smart. They're different and they're very nice. There's not one that I dislike, which is wonderful. I think that's amazing. They're all hard workers and they're all very successful. John and Christine are the only 2 that are in college now, and then it's over with, which is interesting. I didn't think I'd ever live that long to see all my grandkids graduate from college, you know. So that is a wonderful experience. My favorite memory was when we would all get together at my house because I had the land and everything. And they'd go swimming in the pool, and my husband would take out the grill, and we'd all grill hamburgers, hot dogs, whatever. Sometimes he would treat everybody to steak, but that was a little on the expensive side. But we had a vegetable garden, which worked out perfectly because we always had salad, always had tomatoes, and we had scallions. You know, it was very easy. And then I'd make dessert. And those were my best memories because we were all family. We were very close. Margaret was living in Massachusetts at that time, though. One of the times when she was working. And so we had a good time. And plus I had other living relatives on my side to have up also. I like to be remembered that I raised 6 children, and they've all done a wonderful job. I'm very proud of them. And now I'm looking at my grandchildren, and they're doing very well also. The last 2 will be the final stage of all the grandchildren getting degrees, which is pretty wonderful. And that makes me very happy. You know, I think I must have done a good job because children were good parents to their children, which is very important. You have to have unity, and we did.